Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
The Indiana Fever beat-off reporter is at it again, continuing to dig a hole. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19 and a quick shout out to all of you for all the amazing comments that I got on the Wall Street Journal article video. Thank you for that. It means a lot. Really do appreciate it. Let's dig in. As you know, we did this the other day. We talked about the Indiana Fever reporter writing what we thought was really a solid article on how the Indiana Fever team has come together, how the players have come together and adapted to play without Caitlin Clark and how well they have been playing without her. And for some reason, it decided to take a left turn into Fever fan. Oh, no, no, no. Let me back up. Caitlin Clark fan bashing. That is what we got. Had nothing at all to do with the article, right? As you say here, they are America's team. Again, no, they are not. And we are going to make that clearer and clearer because you keep liking to use that while also attacking the same fans that allow you to say it. However, there's also a lot of nastiness almost entirely online that comes along with that. Just read the comments or don't. Actually, it's something they dealt with last season and again this season. The reality is those who are the loudest aren't Fever or basketball fans. They're only there for Clark, but that dark side can easily seep into a team. Goes on and talks about running them off of social media, blah, blah, woof, woof. What a little spineless, low T simp of a clown. Anyway, we talked about that in the previous video, but I wanted to get into the follow-up because he decided to follow up a few times to try and dig himself out. And here was one of them, which is really interesting. We're basketball fans. This is someone responding to him, Scott, and a lot of us have happily become fans of the rest of the Fever. Now that Caitlin's injured, suddenly her fans are the dark side. Well, I think they were always the dark side. I think Scott always thought they were the dark side. We'll get into that in a second. She's changed this franchise for the better. You've witnessed it. Scott, absolutely. You're one of them that is great. You know the types I'm referencing. Oh my God, get me off this freaking timeline. These people are absolute clowns. Scott, go away. Go back to your cave. Get away from the Indiana Fever. Stop talking about Caitlin Clark. No one wants you around. I'm just saying. Of course, this didn't go over well. So we can see his main article got ratioed 516,000 views. He's got 31,000 followers. It got a whopping 502 likes. We're already up to 517 comments. And oh, same thing happened to this follow up of his when he decides to say that he gets to pick and choose who are good fans and who are, those fans that he's talking about. You know the types? I don't, Scott. What are the types? Who are the types you are referencing? Could you spell it out for us? As Paul says here, shout out, big supporter of the channel. Is he a bigot for othering tens, hundreds, perhaps even thousands of Caitlin Clark Fever fans? Yeah, there are millions of them. How do you know those who drove players off of social media are legitimate fans or just fans of other teams trying to drive a narrative and create disruption within the organization? You know the types I am referencing. Wow, Scott, when you get done othering people and doubling down on it, you might want to get your head out of your backside and read the room. It is absolutely wild that we are talking about this, but I want to dig a little deeper because again, this is something that we talk about really just with the WNBA. Everyone seems to be so upset. It's the weirdest thing. Everyone seems to be so upset that fans are just Caitlin Clark fans and that they're going to be fans when she goes to another team. Guess what? There are a lot of players like that. Michael Jordan, I mean, now he came back and played a little for Washington after he was done and everything, but you think if Michael Jordan, say, left the Bulls in his prime, that there wouldn't have been a lot of fans that went and became fans of the team Michael Jordan played for? You don't think that happens with LeBron James? You don't think there were Tom Brady fans that all of a sudden were rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? It is such a bizarre thing that it is seen as a negative that you're throwing a slur at someone when oh, are you a Caitlin Clark fan or Indiana Fever fan? To the point with the WNBA where it's like you no you real fans have to be fans of the whole league and all these other players. Never heard anything like that in sports in my life. The loudest ones aren't Fever or basketball fans. They're only there for Caitlin Clark. But that dark side can easily seep into a team. They have been talking about this nonsense for a long time. I really do want to know who Scott is othering here. Who exactly is he referencing? Now, he could have called out trolls and bots and all that stuff, people that aren't actually fans, but they go online, they look for engagement, they look to just say nasty stuff. And of course, as we all know, because it's really easy to do and it's been found out in a whole lot of situations, it could be fans of Angel Reese. And I just say that because obviously that's a big name with Caitlin Clark or DeJounte Carrington or Marina Mabry or, Diamond DeShields or any of these players could be fans of them and they get an account and they pretend to be a Caitlin Clark fan and then they say nasty stuff. And then everyone gets to say, oh, look at these Clark fans. They're so horrible. Again, the only person that we know of that's been arrested is an actual stalker of Caitlin Clark. But then he gets deeper, which is actually wild because as I mentioned in the other video, he talks about fans who they called for the firing of Stephanie White. By the way, something I didn't mention in the other video and didn't get into is I believe Scott Agness has actually been around that long. He was covering the team when White was there. He was covering the team back in the day when Kelly was there before she came back. Like he is hard, and a lot of people were saying, sometimes people use reporters and journalists they have relationships with to get out things they want out there, but they don't want attributed to them. And a lot of people were making the comments that, this could be what Scott's doing. These are how Stephanie White is feeling. But of course, he was just talking about Caitlin Clark fans. He called them out. He didn't signal out trolls or talk about how people do this sort of thing. He never talks about rival fan bases and how unbelievably nasty they are. I mean, there is some vile, vile, disgusting stuff out there that is not coming from Caitlin Clark fans. And since we're going to get into this vague idea of othering people, you know, Caitlin Clark fans who just say things that we don't agree with or don't like. Again, this whole policing of fandom is just absolutely bizarre. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Yes, I am going to go down this road because I don't think anyone has been talking about it. Has there been anyone in terms of all this WNBA narrative and nonsense that has been the recipient of more disgusting, vile, yes, racial nonsense and attacks than black people who support Caitlin Clark? This is why we get into this whole idea of these people are projecting and they're putting how they actually feel out there and blaming Caitlin Clark fans and accusing Caitlin Clark fans of those feelings. That's them. It's so easy to see because as soon as somebody goes out of the group that they believe they're supposed to be a part of, shout out CJ W360 as a great example because she's obviously out in front. But Nay, I don't know if Nay's listening or not, there are a number of them that are hardcore Caitlin Clark fans, and they don't put up with that nonsense, and they get attacked, and they get called the most disgusting things that if they were said by Caitlin Clark fans, these people would be destroyed. They would be destroyed. It's this same nonsense that we're seeing culturally in other ways. I'm trying to not get it, make it political because it's not political, but there are other areas where this happens for sure, and it becomes absolutely ridiculous. And for some reason, Caitlin Clark fans, fan again, short for fanatic. What I was going to say passionate and fanatic, fanatically passionate. How's that? So, very intense. They, for some reason, get viewed and judged differently than any fandom in the history of sports. No matter what you do, and I actually said this the other day. I think it was I forget what it was in reference to, but I said to people, said, look, Caitlin Clark fans, react however you want to react to anything, because no matter what you say, you will be attacked for it. No matter what you say, you will be attacked. So just be you. Don't be afraid to just be a fan because you're going to get attacked no matter what. So the heck with it. Whatever you say, it's going to be, oh, you're horrible. You're only a Clark fan, so that makes you this, this, and this. Oh, you said this. Oh, you're not a real fan. You're just using Caitlin Clark. It's on and on and on. You want to critique the team? Well, you're just a fake Clark fan. You don't understand basketball. And on and on and on. It's absolutely wild, and it's growing. Hey, do you remember now that we're well into this season when I kept saying in the off season it's probably going to get worse in year two? Anyone remember that? Has it gotten worse in year two? I think it's gotten worse in year two. And yet Caitlin Clark is still driving all the eyeballs, all the engagement. She's the one driving all the coverage and all the discourse. I saw something the other day where I'm sure you've all heard about all the Sydney Sweeney stuff and that ads, and I don't want to get into that, but my point being about the WNBA seeping into the general consciousness is I saw somebody put out something about, and I don't even remember the wording, but the point is they used Sydney Sweeney and Sophie Cunningham. In 2023, that never would have happened. But Caitlin Clark has gotten the WNBA into the general consciousness. And I hate to even say this because it's like a setup that we always have to have this disclaimer of, well, every fan base has a few little. I'm tired of saying that. It's true though. And of course there are a few people, like I said, but they're going to use, and whatever it is, they're going to use Caitlin Clark or anything in life to start nonsense. And that is, like, for me, that is irrelevant. To even count them is irrelevant. I mean, my lord, you don't think there's some people in the Philippines? No. But yeah, but it is absolutely wild, and it's getting ridiculous, and I don't know if Scotty's gonna come back and say more, but he's been digging for sure. I think I mean, most of the comments like this, I think, like I said, I think I may saw three people in all these comments to Scott who were agreeing with them. Why does almost every WNBA journalist attack Fever fans when the majority of the vile behavior is coming from the other fan bases? Are there orders from the league itself to allow the rampant ism, threats, and wishes of harm on our players to go unscrutinized? Generalizing a whole group of millions of fans is completely irresponsible. Indiana Fever's whole marketing scheme is based on Caitlin Clark fans who love her and the organization itself. I don't know that they do love the organization. I think a lot of people's eyes are being open to the fact that the Fever, kind of like the rest of the WNBA, and they're using Caitlin Clark. They want the clout, they want the money, they want the fame and the butts in the seats, but they don't really want Caitlin Clark. Maybe you are jealous that the CC fans are actually getting just as much play as some of you, and it goes on and on. WNBA is battling with fans for years. He talks about some Cheryl Swoop stuff that was all the way back years ago. How about the ones who booed Bonner? Are they bad too, Scott? Yeah, of course. Scott, the fans that you're referencing are in every fan base. Why would you put this in an article when you know that this makes Caitlin look bad? Why does she deserve this? I'm a basketball fan who started watching the W again because of Caitlin. So anyway, I just wanted to, when he followed up and said that about, oh well, you're one of the good ones. You know the ones I'm referencing and the backlash that got. It just got me some other things that I wanted to get off my chest and hear what you all think of that I didn't cover in that first video about this. So I'm curious what you all think about this, especially, like I said. Now, I never say this about the comments because y'all are so great, but let's not go over the top on the topic of what I said about asking all of you about the black fans of Caitlin Clark and how they get it so much worse. But I am very curious as to what you think about that, or if you happen to be one of those fans, your experiences as well in terms of being a Caitlin Clark fan and what that means. I think you have it tougher than any of her fans. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you all so much. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.